As the conflict intensifies, a very rare and very powerful unity is emerging across the Middle East. Welcome to our war updates. It is shocking, but it is expected too. Several Gulf and regional countries, they have come together to deliver a clear and urgent message to Iran. Halt the attacks immediately and step back from further escalation. That's right, during a very high-level meeting in Riyadh, foreign ministers from countries including Qatar, Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates, along with several other nations, issued a joint statement condemning the recent wave of missiles and drone strike. While the gathering reflected growing concern that the whole situation is no longer contained and it could quickly spiral into a wider regional conflict. The urgency, it comes as multiple Gulf nations report attacks targeting crucial infrastructure such as ports, airports, energy facilities. These are not just any strategic assets for individual countries, by the way. They are essential to global energy supply, making the whole situation far more serious than a localized conflict now. In fact, the impact, it is already being felt beyond the region. Energy markets have become unstable and concern over supply disruptions, they are increasing. And Strait of Hormuz, a vital sea route which is very important for the global oil and gas transport, it is disrupted. And any disruption over here, it will immediately raise the global consequences, alarms, and it will affect the global economy at the very same time. And speaking of same time, then Iran's warning that certain energy facilities could be considered legitimate targets. It has further heightened the fear. So key installation near Qatar, Saudi Arabia, the UAE, they are now seen as potential risk, specifically after reports of strike on major energy sites in that particular region. Now, this joint statement from these nations, it strongly condemned the attack, particularly those impacting civilians and commercial infrastructure. Leaders emphasize that such actions, they violate the international law and they pose a direct threat to the regional sovereignty and stability as well. While reaffirming the right of countries to defend themselves, they stress that priority must now be de-escalation and return to dialogue. And another critical concern highlighted was the safety of global shipping lanes. Along with Strait of Hormuz, the Bab al-Mandab Strait, it was also mentioned as vital passage that must be protected. Any disruption in these areas, it could severely impact the global trade and energy flow. So, in the end, the message from the region is clear. Continued escalation is not acceptable, and stability must be restored through restraint and cooperation. However, the whole situation remains tense, and the effectiveness of this warning will depend on how events unfold in the coming days. The key question now is whether this unified stance will lead to reduction in hostilities or whether the whole conflict will continue to escalate, drawing more and more countries in an already volatile situation. Well, the stakes are no longer regional, ladies and gentlemen. Now they are global.
Praises and glory to our power Yahweh, Bahasham Yahweh Bahasham Rachak Kodash, double honors to the apostles, the bishops, and the elders of Great Millstone. Peace and blessings to the hopeful elect of the tabernacles of David, scattered throughout the four corners of the earth, and wherever you may be, and wherever you may be, to you I say Shalom, Yeshua, Shalom. All right, this is from the Hindustan Times, how you want to pronounce it. It says, Gulf countries warn Iran to halt attacks after legitimate targets threat. Gulf countries warn Iran to halt attacks after legitimate targets threat. Gulf countries like Qatar, UAE, the United Arab Emirates, and Saudi Arabia have been facing attacks on its ports, commercial and energy hubs since the war started on February 28th. And for those of you who may not be up to speed, the reason behind that is because they're attacking these American installations, these places where military troops would be, which is what they were mentioning when they said, if you attack us, this is going to be a regional war. And, Babylon and the SOI didn't heed to those words, that warning that was given by the Iranians. And that's exactly what the Iranians did. They made on their word. They made it a regional war by attacking the American bases in areas that they can attack or house individuals from. Group of Arab Islamic countries on Thursday issued a strong joint statement condemning Iran's recent missile and drone attacks across the region and warning that continued escalation threatens regional security, sovereignty, stability. It also said that attacks on energy hubs have created a global maritime instability, leading to an energy crisis all over the world. Right, the Strait of Hormuz is having a lot of trickle down effects. Okay, but continuing on with the point. And this photo here says a group of Arab and Islamic countries ministers during a meeting on regional security in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. This is about the third or fourth, I haven't kept up, it's about the third or fourth time that these so-called Arab countries have come together to have a meeting. All right, brothers together with brothers, right, to have a meeting on matters of war. Okay. The statement followed a consultative ministerial meeting held in Riyadh on March 18th, bringing together foreign ministers from Qatar, Azerbaijan, Bahrain, Egypt, Jordan, Kuwait, Lebanon, Pakistan, Saudi Arabia, Syria, Turkey, and the UAE, the United Arab Emirates. The ministers strongly condemned and denounced what they described as deliberate Iranian attacks targeting multiple countries, including Gulf Cooperation Council or the GCC states. Since the war started on February 28th, when Israel and the United States attacked Iran, and after the killing of its supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, the Islamic Republic has been consistently attacking the U.S. military bases, which is what we just mentioned. That regional war that they mentioned. The commercial and energy hubs in the Gulf countries in retaliation. Iran also choked off the Strait of Hormuz, a narrow corridor through which major oil and gas supplies pass from Gulf countries to the rest of the world. And that's major. Pop up here. Joint statement issued by the consultative ministerial meeting of the foreign ministers of a group of Arab and Islamic countries regarding the Iranian attacks. Riyadh, March 19, 2026. Their Highness and Excellencies, the Ministers of Foreign Affairs of the State of Qatar. And I'm not going to read that. So Iran's legitimate targets, warning to Gulf neighbor on March 19th, Iran also attacked a key energy infrastructure in Qatar, Ras Laffan Industrial City, in reply to Israel hitting its natural gas facility. Iran has also attacked the civilian areas in the Gulf countries, including airports and tourist spots in Dubai, Bahrain, and Qatar. Iran had warned Gulf nations that several key energy installations could become legitimate targets. See, this was the warning before they were attacked. Could become legitimate targets following Israel's strike on its massive South Pars gas field. And see, now that trickles down to what they're threatening now. Okay, we warned you it would be a regional conflict, and now we're warning you of other things. A move that has rattled global oil and gas markets, because they're not stopping. They don't want to stop. They want to go through. They said, you want war, so we'll give you war, and so they're making doing their end. Right? America has bitten off with something that they cannot chew, and the SOI never had a chance. Which is why they needed America to enter into the battle. Which that trickles down to what? These troops over here saying that we don't want to fight a war for the SOI. We pledge allegiance to America, not the SOI. According to Iran's, and then you have this jacked up economy over here. Okay, so why are we going over here to fight for which those people are probably not so messed up in the economy, but still, nonetheless. All right, this jacked up economy over here, but you want me to go over there and fight for people over there who don't care about us. All right, and our home is all messed up. That's the mind of these people. All right, because Babylon is divided. A kingdom that is divided cannot stand. According to Iran's, which makes me think about the Civil War movie, they had the Eastern and the Western, right? According to Iran's semi-official Tasnim news agency, facilities in Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and the UAE are among those at potential risk of retaliatory airstrikes. Separately, Fars news agency reported that attacks on Iran's energy infrastructure will not go unanswered. All right, these attacks cannot be justified under any pretext, the statement said, underlining that targeting civilian infrastructure constitutes a serious violation of international law and humanitarian norms, reaffirming the right of nations to defend themselves under Article 51 of the United Nations Charter, which we showed in the video, which was actually proven. I forget the guy's name, but from Geopolitical Economy Report. All right. The ministers called on Iran to immediately cease all hostile actions. They stressed that de-escalation, respect for sovereignty, and adherence to international law are essential for restoring stability in the region. Okay. So the statement as that future ties with Iran will hinge on its respect for the sovereignty of states, which I'm correct. They apologize, but apologizing for striking isn't stopping the strikes. Non-interference in their internal affairs and a commitment to refrain from the violating territorial integrity or using and developing military capabilities to threaten countries in the region. The group of Arab and Islamic countries also warned against any Iranian move to disrupt international navigation in the Strait of Hormuz or threaten shipping lanes in the Bab al-Mandab, both critical choke points for global energy supplies, because the Strait of Hormuz affects a lot of different places because shipping containers have to go through there. Okay? And so if they're not allowing through, which they are, but you have to get permission. So what if you didn't get permission? You try to come through, you didn't get permission. You can't get through. You can't deliver. Okay? Your shipping crates can't go in or out. Out for, to ship off wherever it's going, probably, to make money elsewhere in another country. Or in because you've purchased and brought in, for consumers of your country. You see? And that might be all for this article. Yeah, I believe that's all. Headline is Gulf countries warn Iran to halt attacks after legitimate targets threat. We're going to jump right over here. Second Esdras 15 and 28. Just going to get a couple verses. Behold, in horrible vision and the appearance thereof from the east, where the nations of the dragons of Arabia shall come out with many chariots, and the multitude of them shall be carried as the wind upon earth. All right, how fast they're going to come and how deep they're going to come. All they which hear them may fear and tremble, because they're going to have a mighty army. Because look, what are they doing? They're joining together. It's about the third or fourth time they join together to have a meeting about world matters. Okay. It says also the Carmanians raging in wrath shall go forth as the wild boars of the wood, and with great power shall they come and join battle with them, and shall waste a portion of the land of the Assyrians. All right. So right now we have tension, and even when you look at an ancient map. Like an ancient map of Assyria, so, not all of it really is not even close, but some of the areas that have been getting bombed by Iran are in the ancient under the ancient map of the Assyria when you look at that. But just a side note there. And then shall the dragons have the upper hand, remembering their nature, and if they shall turn themselves, conspire together in great power to persecute them, then these shall be troubled and keep silence through their power and shall flee. All right. So that's all I had on that. I got some more news. We're going to talk about something else here.
US and Israel's war on Iran has reignited fears of a nuclear disaster. International organizations are preparing for the worst case scenario, nuclear catastrophe due to strikes on nuclear facilities or direct use of a nuclear weapon. In an interview with US-based news portal Politico, WHO's regional director for Eastern Mediterranean expressed concerns about a nuclear incident due to the ongoing conflict in West Asia. She says the WHO staffers are prepared, but there is no way to escape long-term consequences of a nuclear disaster. This comes as the US and Israel continue to bomb Iran's military sites, including attacks near the nuclear enrichment facilities. According to him, WHO is training staff on how to respond during bombing or a nuclear incident. WHO has warned that any nuclear incident will have devastating and long-lasting consequences, not just for West Asia, but globally. And with fresh attacks on energy infrastructure, the threat of further escalation has intensified. Iran's Abu Sheher nuclear power plant sits at the coastline of the Persian Gulf. The International Atomic Energy Agency has issued a warning after strikes hit a compound located 350 meters from the reactor at Bushehr plant. The agency called it a near miss, but a simple misfire could trigger irreversible nuclear disaster. Other possible sites include Iran's known nuclear facilities like Fordo, Natanz, and Isfahan. These sites were hit during the July 2025 operation by Israel and the US.
Fuck you, motherfucker! On the sidewalk! Now, let's go! On the sidewalk! Out of the street! Out of the street! What's the street? Get it back to you. Back it up, back it up. Back up, guys. Fucking obedient. Fuck you.
A
A powerful cyclone is moving towards Australia, and it's expected to be quite destructive. It's rare in its strength, and as we watch the trajectory of what's happening, it looks like it will make landfall as a Category 5 tropical cyclone. That's what they're called in the Pacific and near Australia. This will be the first landfall Friday morning local time. Second landfall expected as Category 3 on Sunday. Now, in its wake, it will drop heavy amounts of rain in northern Queensland as well as Northern Territory, up to 200 to 300 millimeters of rain, which means we could see landslides with this, flash flooding, and of course the strong winds with gusts over 300 kilometers an hour possible. Now, in Australia, their cyclone season ends April 30th. For Atlantic Canada, hurricane season begins June 1st and runs till November 30th.
This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 10, verse 2. It says, "Thus saith the Lord Yahweh, learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven. For the heathen are dismayed at them." All right, what are the signs of heaven? Things that happen up, in the skies, all right? When you see blood moons, eclipses, all right, lunar, solar, whatever, even partial eclipses, okay? When you see planetary parades or alignments, all right? These things are signs in the heavens that the Lord is doing his work. He's doing as he promised that he would do, which we'll get that. It says, for the customs of the people are vain. Well, actually, we don't even need that. We really just want verse 2, all right? Be not dismayed at the signs of heaven, for the heathen are dismayed at them. And when you go to the book of 2nd Esdras, chapter 9, it says what? He answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself. And when thou seest part of the signs past, which I have told thee before, then thou shalt understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. So all these different things that we see, wars, rumors of war, earthquakes, pestilences, famines in diverse places, as well as the signs of heaven, these are the signs of the times of the end. And these are the signs that the Lord is visiting the earth which he made. All right. It says, therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people. See, there you go. Two more things. Well, one more, because earthquakes was already mentioned. Then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. For like as all that is made in the world hath a beginning and an end, and the end is manifest, even so the times also of the highest have plain beginnings in wonder, and powerful works and endings in effects and signs. And that's what's happening here. All right, where you have these different signs in heaven. All right, these things are to the hopeful elect remnant, to let you know that the Lord is doing as he promised. He's visiting this earth. Okay, and the end of Esau's age is almost up. But that was it. Lord, will you edify? Shalom.